Welcome, guys. My name is Tarah Keech, and I am here with my style icon. I can't get over the fact that we're friends. I think the world of Bridgette Raes. She is all things amazing in the world of style. I am here with the collective of Real Executive Women, also known as the Real Crew. And we are here today to talk about receiving. But before we do that, let you guys meet Bridgette. Bridgette.
Hi, I'm so excited to be doing this again. We did this last week or whenever, a couple weeks ago. And like, I don't know where we're going with this, but I just think it's fun. This is like the most fun I have, is just sitting down and chatting with you. So for those who are just catching up with our videos, yes, my name is Bridgette Raes. And I have been Tarah's stylist, which is amazing because we've never met in person, but we share this really incredible bond that we just decided to run with. And I am the president of Bridgette Raes Style Group, which is an image and style consulting company for women here in New York City that I started 15 years ago. And I have a blog on my website, bridgetteraes.com, and a very active, on my Facebook page, there is a group that has gotten really active since the last time we spoke, Tarah, which was, I think the group was a week old at that point.
Yeah.
We are now over 700 members. So
700.
Yeah, we're at 705. Yeah, as of this morning, I was like, approve, like letting people in and stuff like that. Like I had to repost the rules of the group. Not that anyone's like done anything horrible, but it's just like, look, for the newbies, you know, because they're just coming in like really quickly. So it's been fun. It's been really fun.
That's amazing. Congratulations. That's a huge milestone. And it's still such a fun group. Like the topics, and like I keep finding myself shopping from other people's links.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's really, they inspire me for shopping. I know they inspire each other. So thank you again for creating the space to do that.
Well, I'm really happy about it. I'm really, I don't know. I'm really, it's kind of fun because I don't get in there as much as I should. Sometimes I do, and other times I'm just like, what are they talking about in there? And they're really amazing with each other. So I really love them a lot. They're kind of cool. We kind of had this funny conversation where we were like, let's all go on vacation together.
Oh my God, you should do a conference.
Right. I'm thinking maybe we should now, but we should do it somewhere cool. Like, you know, I don't know.
Where we could shop.
Yes. Just what I feel like doing, right? Shopping with hundreds of my closest group members. That'd be daunting, but that would be kind of fun.
I think it'd be really fun. You could do panel stuff and hot seats where people wear what they have questions about. And you could, that would be so much fun.
I know.
Cocktails and sleeping in and clothing and style and talking.
Right?
Yeah. Real life women.
We might have to put that together because, you know, I'll make you do it with me, Tarah.
I'm glad to. Whatever you need, Bridgette.
So we're talking about, so speaking of cool things, like,
right.
So receiving.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like this topic.
I see your face.
I don't know why this is so hard for me. So I feel like in this case, like the last time we really spoke, like we had a real nice back and forth banter, but I feel like in this case, I'm going to be like, I don't know, like you. So,
well, tell me about, so like my first question for you is like, what is receiving? Tell me what you're talking about when you say receiving.
Like letting from like abundance financially to just allowing, I think I block more than I allow in. It's not like, I mean, it's not like I don't have nice things, but like also just the ability to really truly enjoy the now of what is coming in and not having anxiety or being okay with not feeling guilty for allowing myself to enjoy something without feeling like I'm not doing enough, or being able to be that present to it and trying to trust that. Like if someone said to me, like, you know, that whole exercise where you have to fall back and someone will catch you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I could do that. So maybe I should one day, but like, I don't think I could do that.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, if you were able to receive, how would that feel for you?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't know. I mean, I think in my head, I see someone who like has a lot more and is experiencing more. I would imagine it's pretty normal for people to struggle with being present and trusting that the process of life, like we talked about this a lot about this last time, that like life kind of moves as it should, and how often we're reminded that things come to us when they should. Yeah. But I think that there are a lot of things in life. I mean, I think when people think about receiving, they think about money a lot of times. And there's always that feeling of, like, yeah, you may meet the right guy in due time, but like meeting the guy doesn't hinge on whether or not you're going to pay your bills that month. Do you know what I mean? So money kind of I think sets up a certain feeling of panic. And I think that's probably the case with a lot of people. And I think obviously there are a lot of very inaccurate thoughts about money that most people have. So I think that might be what causes a lot of panic for people.
It is, and money is one of those topics. I think money and sex are the two topics that are sort of tabooed. And all of us, for better or worse, receive completely different educations on both topics and experiences. So for money, and I was thinking about my own experience, right? So this is work that I've been doing personally for the last 3 years, probably pretty consistently, trying to understand more about my own self and my own framework around money and receiving, because it's not easy. And we're all, I'm going to use the word programmed, but I know that's kind of a heavy word too. So what I mean when I say programmed is the experiences that we've had that were formative, and the things that we were taught or not taught and then observed indirectly. So it's not easy to unpack all of that. Right. But like the first step, and I go back to this all the time, Bridgette, so I know I sound like a broken record, but really, like, what do you want? What would your ideal life look like if you were able to receive, if you had everything, if you received everything you wanted?
Well, it's really interesting because in terms of receiving, like I had so much success with my marriage. So meeting my husband. So I was dating a guy. It's funny because I brought this up the last time I was dating this guy. The relationship didn't work out. And so I'm like very woo-woo. Like I go to astrologists and stuff. Like, so my astrologist, like I'd just gotten out of the relationship. It was probably about 3 months after I'd gotten out of this like long-term relationship. And my astrologist said, you're probably going to be engaged based on your chart. You're probably going to be engaged by the end of the year. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not even like physically possible. It's February, or I think it was even like April. I mean, it was crazy. No, it was April because I met my husband. So it was like February. And by the end of the year, I'm going to like want and be engaged. And she goes, if you're not engaged, you're going to know this is the person you're going to marry. So she said, this is what you need to do. You need to put out there exactly what you want. Yes. And like make it very clear. And you need to presence that every day. And she said, and when you go on a date and it's a bust, you look at what was really positive about that date. Like, what did you like from that guy? Take those things, write them down on your list and let the rest go. But don't like harp on, oh my God, dating sucks. Oh my God, like I'm never going to be a good guy, blah, blah, blah. And you know that every day, like I made this list, I was very clear. I read it like every day about like what I wanted in a relationship. And I met my husband in April. And by December, I knew I was going to marry him. He actually started shopping for my engagement ring by December, January, like right after Christmas. And we got engaged the following April.
Okay. So many things. So you and I share some really cool things. Like we keep hitting on random things. So I had a list for my husband. Also, the advice that you got that you followed is basically the thesis of my life. Right? Imagine what you want, best case, right? The most optimistic outcome, and then focus towards that. And there's a psychology. Oh, I love this rule. The psychology makes me want to nerd out. So
let's nerd out. I love this.
Yeah. So it's called the reticular activation system. So I don't know, you don't have a car, but we just got a car last year. And as soon as we got in it, we're driving around. Like everybody has a car. Like it has to be the most popular car.
Everyone has the car, right?
That's how our brains work. We're programmed. Our brains are wired to help us survive. We survive by staying in communities and organizations where we're safe, and we're safe where we share things with others. So this reticular activation clicks in to help us identify other things that are similar to us. So what happens when you're focusing on the positive, your brain's like, oh, positive, or these characteristics whatever you're framing as positive that you really want,
right.
you see it more when you focus on it, because your brain's looking for that sameness, that safe place, and identifying more of those things that you're focusing on. So
Right.
it's sort of the snowball effect of positivity.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because, you know, I mean, I've always been a big believer in the whole idea of what you know, put out there, you know, as far as like why people say affirmations or why people think positive thoughts and the whole idea of that. And even if there's been like physics to back up certain things, like I don't know if you ever saw the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? I don't know if you ever saw it. Oh, it's really fascinating actually.
Okay.
It really gets to the physics side of attraction.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, but I guess like for me, and it's kind of like I'm this way with faith, sometimes like, okay, well, tell me scientifically, like, why does this work? Because sometimes it feels a little bit like with like putting it out there that you're sort of just like, is it really working from a scientific standpoint, or are we just sort of like believing that it works? So the idea that there's something that is psychologically happening with our brains makes me feel more inclined to want to continue a practice like that. Right. Because there's an actual like muscle in your brain that is being worked to say, yeah. And you know, it's funny because this happened too when I got married, when we were planning our wedding, you know, I wanted to be a bride who, you know, went to the gym and all that. And I remember for the first like month or so of working out like diligently, I kept saying, people would say like, oh, you know, I'm trying to lose weight. I kept saying, I'm trying to lose weight. And then one day I woke up and I said, well, if I'm trying to lose weight all the time, then I'm going to constantly be in a state of trying. So I'm just going to start saying I'm losing weight. And even if in the beginning I didn't believe it, I just kept saying it. And do you know that I like after that point, it was like the weight just was like gone. It just fell off my body. So yeah, I think it's true. I think it's completely true that once we say this is what's it does happen.
It does happen. Well, and there's a couple other things that happen with the exercise you did with your astrology reading and what you did with your exercising. So anytime we can state affirmatively where we are and tie an emotion to it, it reinforces the neural pathways that much more stronger, like exponentially more strong.
So explain what that means.
So you were saying, let's use your gym example, because you wanted to receive the weight loss, right? You wanted to receive the benefit of doing the work that you're already doing. So
sure.
Saying present tense that you are doing it does a couple things. It means that you're not threatening your status quo, right? So your body as it is,
right?
If you're saying that this is how it is, then your psyche, your subconscious isn't fighting against that, because you're identifying that that is already how it is. So that's one thought path. And when you tie emotion to it, like I'm imagining you felt really good about being a bride and going through this like preparation process, right? So tying in that positive anticipation and the happiness to that thought process reinforced it all the more. So you reduced all the friction. You didn't have to fight yourself to get the weight off, and your body felt comfortable with where you were because subconsciously you weren't fighting against it.
Right. I like the not fight, because so that's what goes back to the whole idea where, you know, certain, like, you know, from my two descriptions, it sounds like I'm a master in receiving. You're like, what do you mean you have a hard time? But there are other areas where I'm not as successful, right? So what you're saying is that by acknowledging where you are at, so because a lot of times people will say like, well, don't focus, like don't like ignore, like almost like put like a happy sticker on like a negative situation. It's not about that. What you're saying is it's about saying, so like, you know, I was saying I'm working out or I'm losing weight. That was the right way to do it. But that doesn't, how does that not fight up against the fact that at the time I wasn't heavier than I wanted to be?
Because like, you weren't saying that you weren't heavy. You weren't saying like, I am a size.
Oh, it wasn't in denial. Right. So
that's not healthy. And that's by all means nothing that I'm advocating here.
Right.
But there is a way to focus on the positive about where you are.
Right.
And even those bad dates, for example, like you focused on the positive from that experience and reinforce that.
Got it. Okay.
So let's use it for receiving money, because, and again, I am practicing what I'm preaching here. Like I am not the expert. I'm working through this. And I'm seeing how dark it is because it's raining.
I hear no rain. It's okay.
Let's talk about receiving money. So for me personally, and student loan debt, right? Like I got it. We had a couple failed businesses. Like we are here in doing this work right now. So rather than say I am debt free,
right?
Like my framing one of my mantras is, I am paying off this debt out of my abundance, and I'm so grateful to be paying off this.
Got it. So
I try not to use the word debt. So it's like, I'm so grateful to be paying these bills out of my abundance.
Right. Or you can even say something along the lines of, I'm so grateful that the debt I am in was served me for an education, whatever. Right. Right. What was I?
Absolutely. And sincerely, I am. And not that that's been an easy place to get to either. Right.
Sure, but of course,
the more that you can recognize what you did, the positive that you did receive from even the worst experiences. And again, I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything.
No, not at all. No.
If you're in pain and you're dealing with things, like, be there, don't brush it off. But in as much as you can, in small ways, recognize the positive. Yikes. Did you hear that?
Yes. It's the heavens agreeing with you.
They are.